Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Down to Earth Podcast. Yes, we said it, Down to Earth
What it do?
Podcast. I'm your first co-host, Demario Del Cruz. This is your second co-host,
Jeremy.
Mr. Jeremy himself. Today's topic that we're going to be going into is about relationships.
Whew. Relationships. Powerful. As some of you may know, Demario here has been in a relationship. I don't even know how long. How long?
It just made 6 years today, so
Woo!
shout out to my girl. Shout
Shout
to
out.
Kathleen.
Dealing with this. And as some of you may know, I have not been in a relationship. It's like I think this will be a good conversation of both angles. Obviously, I'm sure you can still remember back to a time where you were single, as I can still remember back a long time ago when I was in relationships. So I think we got a good topic of discussion here today, and we're going to start that out with it's the small things that matter the most.
Okay. I like that. I guess I'll go right into that.
Okay.
And just say how that's something that I realized. When did I realize that? I think this relationship the most, as far as it's just the little things that matter the most, right? As far as I think a good example that we talked about was just like how you communicate and like during what times does that communication go down. I'll kind of break that down what I mean, but as far as just like for me, let's just say example, a girl's on her time of the month or whatever, and I mean, I tend to say like some shit. It's just like poking at her, you know what I mean? I tend to do that definitely, and when it comes down to knowing those times when she is on that time of the month or just going through something, it doesn't have to be like the time of the month, whatever, just in a different mindset or whatever. Some of those things that I would say or anyone would say to their significant other, that it would rile them up or like put them in a position where they're like, shut the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like just thinking and being like, okay, like it's such a small thing to me, but it's gonna be a big thing to her. But the small thing would be like just me really thinking and being like, okay, should I say this right now? Is that a good point to be doing right now? Like, am I aware of how this person's feeling right now and how me saying this would affect them? And like,
just to get a laugh for yourself.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And I could be in a mindset where I just want to fuck with somebody because I mean,
and that's I bet a lot of people have this in relationships, but it's truly a toxic trait if you think about it. Because who doesn't like their significant other kind of feeling a little upset or getting mad at you? Like, I want to be mad at. I don't know what it is. I like that. You can be mad at me all you want, mama. Come on.
Mama,
but,
trying to get smooth. Get your...
But
no. I hear
but
you.
if you think about it, it's like, that's 100% for my satisfaction and happiness. Saying something that I know is going to rile you up to get you mad at me, knowing that we're going to still be going to sleep in the same bed, waking up, and the relationship's still going to continue. And, you do that too much and you kind of start to take advantage of that. Poking fun here and there is always going to be cool.
Always.
But, if you're always doing it during a time where you know that it could possibly be hurtful, during that time of the month, more, emotions are flowing, body's hurting, stuff like that. You can over the course of some time cause some real damage in that relationship potentially. 100%. And I've done stuff like that before, and then it's like, oh, it's just a fight, it'll be fine, and then then it's not fine, and then it's, oh, I got to apologize. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm cool on that. Then that's why I'm the one sitting here single though. So hey, don't listen to me.
See that pride and ego come out. I'm not apologizing for shit.
But I think that's more on the negative side of the little things that matter.
Yeah. 100%.
I think the stuff that really matters, and you guys have lived together for a couple of years now. Not the majority of your relationship.
Probably 3 now.
3?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, not including the apartment, right? We're talking just straight
up.
No,
just straight up
into your place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably about half your relationship.
Yeah.
I think the dynamic changes a little bit on that, so I won't jump into that as much. But when it comes to the little things, like, man, just knowing what food your significant other likes at a place or their coffee order, and just being able to do those out of nowhere. Hey, You wake up early on a Saturday morning, they're still sleeping, and you're like, I know exactly what she's gonna want when she wakes up. We'll get a bagel with cream cheese and a cocoa mocha latte with. Wow.
Oh, what?
A cocoa mocha latte.
Nah, you should go.
That's crazy. I didn't even mean to do that. I mean, she probably gonna want that too, to be honest.
Hey, as long as you know, I feel it.
Anyway, that's gonna be clipped.
But yeah, just like on the positive things of that when it comes down to a relationship, those things matter the most. Like I think for me personally, like my significant other just comes up and be like, I'm proud of you. Like just saying that.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like it doesn't really do anything, but at the same time, it's like, damn, like that meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
So like knowing those little things that you can do for your significant other, I think is very powerful. One, but then also I just think that you have to always remember that the big things get piled up from the small things.
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to jump into, I know that we have this kind of labeled as it's the small things that matter, but what are the big things? Yeah. The big things are don't cheat, obviously. Don't, domestic violence. That's a big thing. No, but those are like so out there that they don't really even matter for the majority of regular relationships, right? Without the small things, I don't think there is a relationship.
Correct.
Because I think it's the small things that really make the two people more connected. And, that's where the love stems from. And that's where, it looks like he's having a rough day. I know what I can say. I know what I can do.
Really bad.
It's not right. It's not just come up behind the desk.
I thought you weren't going to do it. No.
But I think it's, we're all humans at the end of the day. But I really do think, now that I'm thinking about it even more, the little things are what make a relationship a relationship. Yeah. Same thing with friendships or any type of relationship.
Facts.
Or even big facts. Business. It's what are the two parties doing for each other that's, different than what everybody else is able to do,
100%. 100%. And, just not taking anything for granted that your person does do for you at the end of the day. And, I do want to kind of transition, which is funny. The next topic is about transitioning from being single to in a relationship. Now, I mean, for me personally, it's been a while. Sure. You know what I mean? So, like, I can't tell you off the rip how I would, like, handle stuff now. But, you brought up a very good point when we were talking about this. You said that, you said that the biggest thing could be when you're single, everything's about you at the end of the day. There's no, like, push or pull as far as, okay, I have to do this, do that. It's whatever I want to do. If I can't do that, on to the, like, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So I did want to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure.
And have you just break it down the way that you broke it down for me earlier, because that was pretty dope, I thought. So.
Yeah, I think the hardest, and just to reiterate what you said, the hardest part is when you're single, you truly are the only person that matters. Whether you're freshly broken up or whether you haven't been in a relationship for years, there is no push or pull. Yeah. You're gonna wake up, do whatever you want to do. You don't got to worry about the other 50% of you being your significant other, either not wanting you to do something or wanting to do something else. And, even like when you go out and you're single, it's like, okay, my standards tonight are I want to find somebody and I want them to sleep with me. And then that's it. I talked to 5 girls, if none of them want to do it, fuck them. I'm never going to talk to them again. Right. So I'm sticking to just 100% my values of what I'm valuing at this time for this moment. And then when I find it, I'm like, okay, cool. But then it's like, that's it after. Yeah. And I'm good. Then I'm right back to doing what I want to do every day, whether it's, playing video games all day, going to work out, getting big, whatever, but on the flip side of that, going into a relationship, I think, it's like the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And I used to think that was an excuse. And I think that it's a real thing because the honeymoon phase it's brand new, right? You go from being single for so long to jumping right into a relationship, whether you've been dating for a little while, going on dates and all that stuff, but making it official and going through the reps of an actual relationship. I think that, the honeymoon phase is the little things. You're finding out, oh, what does she like to do? What do I like to do? What do we like to do together? What's fun? What's something that I can say? What's something that I can't say around her that I could say around the guys that I might have to, for the sake of her, not really say? We say some wild shit on the video game.
I don't say.
But now if I just, but now if my significant other is possibly triggered by one of those things that we might say based on things that happened in the past, it's going to be something where it's now 50-50.
Yeah.
If I say that, I know the repercussions are, she's going to feel either disrespected or unhappy, sad, could bring up past trauma, stuff like that. But it's like, those are the push and pull things that you need to be able to turn on and off from being single to going into a relationship. And I've learned a lot being single the last couple of years. High school is high school.
Yeah. For sure.
So that's like,
for sure.
It's just that you're a kid.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I've realized that, especially being that being single for a few years is, I feel like you learn more about the little stuff of yourself, which means that the next relationship I go into, I'll have a lot deeper understanding of myself, which is always good, but also like knowing that the other person is going to be exactly the same way, possibly.
Wait, what do you mean by that? As far as just like knowing
themselves, but also maybe what they want from the other person. Because like I have a laundry list of what I would like from the next person that I'm with, right?
Yeah.
As they might too. But to go in with just me and my checklist, instead of actually remembering that the other person is a person that has a checklist.
That's good.
And I don't know who said this or a quote, but it's like if your relationship can be good 85% of the time, that's a perfect relationship. Because there's no such thing as 100%.
Yeah. I think that was me that said that.
No.
What?
Because there's always going to get, and I'm not talking bad, like really bad 15%, but you're not always going to be on the same page. You're not always going to be happy.
Correct.
You're not always going to be not fighting. And the what the quote went into was where a lot of people end up cheating or getting out of relationships is they feel like they need that 100%, so they'll leave the 85% for somebody that only offers the 15. And that's where people really mess up, I believe.
Talk your shit, Jay. But no, that's a very good point. I think to go on that point of when people start getting to the fact where they cheat or like they start like just looking for other stuff when they're still in a relationship, it's because like they're not getting something. But a thing that I learned just from being in this relationship is that, bro, communication is key. Because what I realized, especially, I'm dating a white individual and I'm a black individual. So there are some things that I would say that I don't think it's being like taken that way, but it's being taken a whole different way. Or like she would say something and I take it a whole different way. She's like, wait, I didn't even like mean it like that. But we got to a point where we would just like have these little arguments or whatever, and like, what are you saying? Or like, what does that mean? Or why are you saying that? And it's like, no, I didn't even mean it like that. So really taking the time to slow things down and be like,
perfect.
Okay, what do you mean by that? And I think, which is very, very funny actually, is that with this sales stuff that I do, is when people say stuff to me, like my number one thing is to clarify. What do you mean by that? Like, because a person can be like, oh, this is too expensive. Okay, what do you mean by that though?
Too big of an upfront cost or too big of a monthly payment every month for the next X amount of years?
That can mean anything from, a lot of different people. So I think if there's one advice that I would definitely give is definitely clarify things. Doesn't matter if you, different races, whatever as well. Like you could be, black couple, white couple, whatever. You just need to clarify on some things because you were brought up a certain way, they were brought up a certain way. So you don't really have those, like you said, kind of just like that dynamic is just not 100%.
Yeah, it's honestly like story building at the end of the day.
That's a good way to look at it.
That's all it is. It's like, I got my pen and paper, you got your pen and paper, but these both have to merge and make one chapter.
Have to.
And then you have to make the book and, chapters after chapters and things are going to happen in each one. And you have to be open to receiving what the other person has to say, even if you hate it, even if you're like, this is a waste of my time. That's at 50%. Yeah. At the end of the day, you can only control yourself in a relationship. Your significant other can wake up one day and not even love you anymore. Or want nothing to do with you. And you can't control that. Yeah. There might be other things that are in that person's head that is making that happen. You can't control that.
Can't.
And that's why I think that, going into my next relationship, I think that it's going to be really good on my end because I have a lot of stuff figured out. I can't speak for the other half, but I know that, I've crossed a lot of things off that I know are not good to do. I've opened up like different routes of communication that I know are really good to have, ways to talk to people and how to, express when you're feeling a certain way instead of just like, I'm just going to let it slide. I'll be cool in 20 minutes when I'm not thinking about it anymore. When in reality, if you just bring it up right there and nip it right there, that mindset will never come up again because you've talked about it. And if it does, then there's an interrelationship issue going on, because if I'm going to continuously bring up, I don't like when you do this, I don't like when you do this, I don't like when you do this, and you're refusing to make a change to that, well, then there's a bigger issue that we have to figure out there.
Bigger issue.
Is it a pure level of disrespect, or is that something so ingrained in you that I shouldn't expect that to change? And those are two really big dynamics right there. Because I'm not disrespecting you, but if I usually say the same joke over and over and over and over and over again, and I've been doing it my whole life, for you to have an expectation for me to be able to change that is a really slippery slope. That's a good one. I like that. I never really thought about that.
It's really interesting. You said, your next relationship. Hope it all goes well. Why is this?
Thanks, Demario.
But kind of transitioning now into.
I'm gonna go back on that one.
Go ahead, do your thing. I'm listening. Woo! Come on, Dr. Phil. Go.
No, nothing crazy like that. I just think that, I have a couple other single friends out there too that are avidly looking for, relationships, or really excited for that one to come in. And I think where some of them, I won't say messing up, that they don't realize that the other person was also, 100% for themselves for so long too. And I think that at the beginning stages, you really just have to be open to, you don't become the number one priority overnight.
You don't. Yeah, that's a very good fucking point, and that's very hard to think about, actually, because I haven't been through that process of like the starting phase of a relationship in a while, but that is how you want it.
Yeah, like I want to jump in right away, and like we're hanging out all the time. Right?
Yeah, because like after a while, some people do get like this, and if they don't get a text from that person within a certain amount of time, it's like, what are they doing? They could be doing this, that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of different thoughts and shit start to actually go through. So that's a good point that you.
I'll put myself out there and and say like two things that I know that I have to be really good at communicating up front. Okay. One, you're not going to get texts all the time. I don't roll like that. I don't text a lot or all the time. I'd rather save everything that happens in a day and us have a little conversation before I go to bed over the phone. I'm not talking about living together. Not way before that, right?
Guess what happened?
But a lot of people are really big on texting, and they want updates, they want texts, all that stuff. I don't roll like that. So that's going to be something that I have to put out there right away. Like, hey, if this is your love language, that this might be something that's going to be hard for you to get used to, because I can guarantee you that I will not be texting all the time. It's not because I'm out partying or doing stuff. It's because my phone's over there and I'm working right here.
So let me stop you there for a second. So, because now you said that's something that you just learned about yourself.
I've known that for so long, but I've never decided to actually bring it up in relationships. And it always just comes to haunt me in the end.
Because you didn't.
What do you? Right. Right. I just decide to not reply, or sometimes I'll see text and I won't reply.
Yeah, because something happens or something.
No, not even that. I don't feel a reply is needed the second that I see the text message.
I got you.
So that's one thing, and then the other thing is going to be, I understand the honeymoon phase and wanting to do stuff all the time and be together and talk all the time and this and that, but I still have a lengthy goal list and things that I'm trying to achieve that are ramping up more now than ever in my life.
Have to.
So like it's going to be more of fitting puzzle pieces together rather just like, oh hey, come on in, all the free time in the world, this and that. No, it's like you look at my calendar. Like we can't do something over the weekend for 3 weeks. I got meetings coming up. I have events that I need to be attending. I'm working full time. I got stuff that I do after I get off of work. I'm trying to fit in a workout schedule. I got to spend time with family. I need to spend time with you and all of that stuff. So there's an expectation right away that you're just getting somebody that has all the time in the world. I'm going to make sure that that's something that's understood as well, because you're not. It's going to be, fitting you into the schedule the same way that I have to schedule in calls and stuff like that. And we're talking beginning stages. Obviously,
that's important.
If we're living together and stuff, then that's a whole different dynamic because I can see you
every fucking day,
every day when I'm at home.
Facts.
But when you're doing something where you're living and I'm doing something where I'm living, even if we're neighbors or even if we're 30 minutes away,
you still got your personal.
There is still my goals and what I'm trying to achieve for myself and my future are not going to be thrown to the side just for the chance of a relationship or a relationship in general.
Yeah, I think that's that's a good way to start out, is to communicate that up front and be like, hey, listen, I'm fucking with you, but I also fuck with myself. And what I mean by that is that's
and breaking that down is good, because if you say that wrong, it might be like, oh, so you still like to go to the bars every week and party and go to the clubs and stuff. I'm like, you couldn't be farther from the truth, because I don't like doing any of that stuff. Like, no, I need, I need my couple hours on the weekend to play video games. That's how I reset. Okay.
Facts, though.
Right. That's something that's ingrained in me that has to be passed on through like the relationship. And, if you're as the other person, say, that I would be talking to, insecurities make you feel like I'm always either ignoring you with some other girl, with a group of people you don't like, out and about getting wasted doing this, then you might have to work on yourself a little bit more before you're ready for a relationship that is not able to be together all the time. Because I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing at all times.
Yeah,
if you think I'm lying and going behind your back, then you got some past trauma that you're still not over.
Facts. Yeah, and I think that's a big fucking part in a relationship as well. Is that once you get done after that honeymoon phase, and then you actually start dealing with
real life,
a person's insecurities, a person's like baggage, traumas and stuff like that.
Baggage.
And that's where the test, like, you're going to get tested in a relationship all the fucking time. And that's the thing. I guess that's the biggest thing that's different from the single to relationship thing, is you're going to have your individual test, but in a relationship, you're going to be tested, but then that person's also going to be testing. You have to be there to witness their testing time. And a lot of people aren't patient for, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what's a good example of like someone being tested with something.
It would be like guy best friends. That's my perfect example. That a guy best friends.
Okay.
You meet a girl for the first time, you guys start dating, but her two best friends are guys.
Oh.
And they have a weekly hangout, something.
I mean, what you think about that?
That ain't happening. I'm good on that. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, I'm good on that. But no, that's
just an example.
That's a good example. It's like sooner or later.
Because there's going to be the big things. Who are you as a person? That is you as a person. My best friend is a guy. Yeah. And you do with that information. Possibly, or they did once and they kept it a secret and they never tell anybody. You'll never know. You don't know. It could be gay guy best friend. Oh, you don't got to worry about anything. He only likes guys, like whatever. It's like, okay, and those are the stuff that makes you who you are. Yeah. You're my best friend. Mm-hmm. If my significant other hates your living guts, that's not going to work.
That's crazy.
But that's how it goes.
That'd be crazy though.
I hate it. And that doesn't work with me, because now you're ruining everything else. Yeah. And I'm not someone. It's already late. I know when I was younger and at the pizza place, I've met people that when they get into a relationship, totally different person. They cut off their friends. They do everything that the significant other says. It's like, oh, you're bad for me. They don't want me spending time around you. And I'm like, I mean, that's you. So I'm going to respect whatever you decide you got to do. But that chirping in that ear, don't work for me.
I feel that. That's a good point. I kind of want to tagline that later. But I do want to transition to, I think this is a big one, keeping your relationship private versus public.
Can I answer first?
No, yeah, you definitely can. I just want to set the scene, because like we're in the age of social media, obviously, and a lot of things are going fast, whatever. And for us personally, we were at the beginning stage of social media. Like we didn't have it at one time, and then we were like the first ones to get it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, what are your thoughts on, as far as when it comes down to keeping relationships private versus public? Because there's a lot of different ways you can go about it. What's your 2 cents?
I hate it.
You hate for it to be public?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why is that?
So I've always been a proponent of. Does proponent mean against? I think so. We'll stick with that.
You're good.
I've always been against posting on social media in general. I'll do it just to stay hip with the times. Something here and there, just because I feel like I need to. Right. Anything. But it's just fake, because you're only ever posting the good. You're never ever going to post a fight that you had with your significant other. No. You're only posting the good days and I think that just puts out a false message to everybody else that is trying to get through stuff in a relationship. Yes. Jump back into the dating world and live their life. And I know that social media is a piece of our identity.
It is now. It is.
And it's always going to be. Mm-hmm. But I'm still, I hate going on and seeing people post their kids. That could just be me. I hate it.
You know, that's a
People get a kid and all they post, and I want to unfollow so bad, but I'm just like, it's not really that big of a deal. I don't care. I don't care. You know, you post something on your 6th year today. You're my boy, so I'm like, okay, cool. But in reality, like, I was just fine before I saw you post 6 years. Yay, you know. But you guys could have just had a major fight yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's like, or you guys could have a fight today.
That's
the anniversary part of it don't matter.
Yeah.
But everybody else is like, oh my God, they're always so happy. And that's why you always, I can't believe they broke up. I can't believe they broke up.
Right.
I've always, you know, all these pictures are gone off their Instagram now.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. It's all fake. It's all a facade.
Yeah, that's facts. That's big facts. That's big.
You know, if you want to post, that's cool. You know, if I'm with somebody where they have a following and they have their identity really built into their social media, and we'll use Instagram for an example, and they post all of their achievements, you know, possibly things that don't work out as well. You know, you want to post me up, cool. I'm not against being posted. But if there is going to be an expectation that, oh, it's Christmas, make sure you post your Christmas picture with me, or hey, it's my birthday, you're gonna post this. It's like, no, I'm not.
I feel that.
And I think that it's not even a maturity thing, unfortunately. So I don't think it's something you grow out of. I think it just comes down to who you are as a person.
Yeah.
You either like posting or not. You know, I have, the more and more I meet people, it's crazy how it's one side or the other. And I'll use, I got a real estate poker group, shout out the boys. And, you know, I talk about random TikTok videos. None of them even have TikTok. They don't know anything about TikTok videos, and they're maybe within 2 or 3 years of my age group. And it's just crazy to me that, you know, I am so ingrained in the TikTok world and stuff, and they're just, you know, they choose to not involve that into their life.
Yeah.
And, you know, and if you go on their Instagram, it's all work. It's all business. Hey, close this deal. Hey, shout out, I'm glad my buyers found a house. Hey, my sellers finally sold, like stuff like that, growing the business. And I think it's crazy that what I see now with my professional life and my personal life is all the friends and stuff I follow. It's all just had kids, getting married, all this. And then on the flip side of, you know, my business partners and stuff it's all business. And I'm like, I love that. Like if I turn my social media into something, it would be business. I don't want you to see my girlfriend. I don't want you to see my wife. I don't want you to see my kids. I don't want you to see my mother. I don't want you to see my family. Why? Keep it private. You know what I want you to see? My yacht. My plane, the suitcase full of $5 million, the poker tournament I won last weekend, the banknote. You know, I think it's really cut and dry in my mind. Why give people the opportunity to burn something down?
You know, that is a very interesting point, and that's kind of where I was going to like bring it. Is you open up you give people access to your relationship, kind of in a way, right? Where now. I'm kind of in the middle. I post and then I don't post. Like, I really have like dropped down from posting a lot lately, but you do give people that access to the relationship. As far as, like you said, one, you give a lot of people that you give people hope. Like, oh my God, they're still together. I love it. I want something like that. But in reality, they don't know the truth.
Yeah.
So that's one. But then for two, you also give people, you know, access to comment and say, I mean, wild shit. One, especially when you get like famous or whatever. Like that's when shit really starts like.
Usually, you know, it's just going to be the people you know from high school and shit. Like, oh, nice picture. You look so good. Stuff like that.
Or if someone, you know, sees your social media with the yachts and shit on there, and then one day you just have a post relationship, some jealousy shit will come up, whatever. But you just give people access to that. Now, I'm not saying that that's bad, because again, I'm more in the middle when it comes down to this, 100%. But what do you think about people being in relationships and going to their friends about problems, and then, you know, we could just focus on problems right now, and then we'll focus on like people telling people the good stuff.
Sure.
What do you think about that overall?
I think that, you know, I kind of put it like social media.
Okay.
If you have a good group of people around you with, you know, good head on their shoulders that can give good advice, that are really good. And I'll use myself as an example. I think I'm a really good person to go to for advice because I am really good at removing bias. I won't apply anything that's involved in my life into whatever you're about to bring to the table right now. I'm going to come in with a level head as if you're not even my friend, and I'm going to give you cut and dry whether you're right or wrong and how I feel about something. I think the biggest thing is who you're going to and with what. So if an example that I'll give is if you're the friend that I go to every single time that me and my significant other gets in a fight, and you only ever hear about the fights and the bad stuff, how can you ever have anything good to say about that person? Because
you can't.
The creation of that person in your mind based off of what I'm feeding you is always bad.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you that every morning he cooks me breakfast. I'm not going to tell you that, every day that I'm sad, he brings me flowers. I'm only going to tell you that we got in a fight and he decided to disrespect me in a way. And even if it's like totally out of left field or something that doesn't really matter, you're going to build your response off of, wow, what, this is happening every other week now. Oh, how many times are you going to let this happen?
You should leave.
Right. You should leave.
You got to get out of there. And all that's just, it's in there.
Yeah.
It's planting seeds.
I know a few people that when they do bring up stuff in the relationship, they're good at getting both sides. Not just, he didn't come home last night.
Damn.
Like just that blanket statement. But you're leaving out the fact that I already texted you that morning saying, hey, I might be out late tonight. We got the work Christmas party, and then I got a poker tournament that might run late. I'll keep you updated, right? Well, guess what? Oops, I forgot to keep you updated. Poker tournament ran late. I walked in the house at 4 o'clock in the morning. But you only go to the person with, he never came home. And now that person's like,
God.
were they with that ex again? Were they? And
wow.
Now they're just bringing up the bad stuff. But you see how that could easily jump into something bad?
Facts.
And so if you're going to give both sides and it's with a person that you trust to give you good advice, I'm okay with it. Because you need to have somebody you can go to. You can't keep everything locked inside.
Yeah, definitely.
And if I'm in a fight with my significant other, how can I go to that person with my fight?
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't. There's a lot.
Some people have their parents they're really close with on relationship stuff. Some people have a group of friends, or maybe just one friend that they can talk to, or just somebody at school that they met that they're really good with relationship stuff.
What an imaginary friend. That could be anything.
The only place where I draw the line is just being really careful with the advice that you're given. And don't make a decision off of what they tell you to do.
Correct.
Because if you do that, it's no longer your relationship. It's all three of us.
So I think one of the best things I heard from Drake, and I forgot which song, but he said the best advice my mom gave me was to never take advice.
Yeah. Yep.
And I use that as like a big part because it's one thing, like you need to hear what other people think about stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like trapped in your own perspective. So I think it's very important to sometimes do get different, sides of things just so you can see it. But I think it's also very fucking key to tell people, if you are going to people, tell them the full story. What did you do? Like, there's a lot of stuff that like would happen or whatever, and you have to include what you did too, not just, oh well, this person did that. What do you think about that?
Right.
And like, it's the responsibility of the other person as well. And I think that's something I do well as well. The same as what you said is, I'm able to not
get the full story.
Like, okay, so what happened before that? Because there's probing questions to ask, and you're gonna get what you need. You know what I mean? Instead of just being like, oh, I'm just gonna go off and go.
Yeah, you didn't just get her flowers, and all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, she's hating you.
No, no, you did something. What happened?
Right.
Come on, man.
Right.
Let's stop playing.
Did you have the wrong girl's name on the card that was in the flowers? Oh, you missed that part.
That's a wild boy move right there. That's a wild boy move.
But that's a perfect example right there. Dude, I got her flowers, and she just hates me. Like, oh, maybe that's not the girl for you then, but you forgot to mention that you put the wrong name on the card.
I do everything. You just hate you.
Right.
But yeah, so I think it's very important to clarify and get an understanding of everything, but also just not tell people everything, bro. And you have to understand, bro, that's a very big point of what you said, is that you paint pictures when you tell people stuff about people. And another thing that I love to bring up is it takes forever to build a reputation. It takes seconds to crush it.
Yes.
Seconds.
And I was just going to jump in. I was just going to say, I brought up the two things that I wanted to make clear in the next relationship I were to get into. This reminded me of the third one because there was like 3 or 4 and I forgot one. But the other one that I want to go in is the importance to me of privacy. Because me personally already. I don't really like posting. I don't like people knowing what I'm doing at all, whether it's good or bad.
I feel it.
I like doing my thing and keeping it low key. Yeah. And it's almost like I just want to go to that person and be like, listen, can you just keep everything between us? And not everybody needs to know what's going on at all times. The good, the bad, because it's just, I feel like it takes away the authenticity of the relationship.
Yeah. No,
Like if
that's
we
a good
can't
point.
keep anything, but like if we go back to high school, we knew the ins and outs of our relationship far more than we need to. And I think that
everything that opens the doors for I'm not even gonna say problems, but just anything.
Not even problems, but it's just like
exactly.
It makes it feel not real. It's more like a movie. And I feel like even
that's
now,
that's a good fucking lesson.
Like I know Kathleen, I've known her for a while. I don't need to be in the mix of your guys' relationship, and I love that I'm not, because it's it keeps you and yours separate. It doesn't get in the way of me and your friendship, our relationship. And I think that that's another dynamic that could get a little sticky here and there too. The best friends all dating each other and all that, and it's like, I don't know. I like the privacy. I want to keep it low key.
Yeah. That was a big thing that was back in the day, high school. Yeah, I was public with everything.
Yeah, I know.
It was very public, and that's also a good point to like bring up with the lifestyle of things that you choose to do for a career. So, like even for like the stand-up comedy career, like you have to be. Depends on what you're trying to do. You have to be like pretty public about that shit, right? And just like you get to a point where you're showing off everything, like the family and stuff like that, blah blah blah. And I realize I don't want that like that super public. Like I don't, you know what I mean? And not saying that like I'm scared of it or anything like that, but I love my privacy as well, and that privacy means a lot to me. Be private with either that individual or whatever. Like there's a lot of stuff that we talk about that we don't tell anybody, you know what I mean? And like that's just between us two, and that's why I cherish our relationship, you know what I mean? And that's just very important. So,
and that's probably even multiplied between you and your significant other.
100%.
There are things that you just don't want there's no reason other people need to know. And I think that some people are just way too public with the little stuff.
And they wonder why shit like happens is because you're the causer of nothing. Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, you're the root of it, like because you're allowing all these people in, or you're allowing people to be putting these things in your head, or you're not like thinking about shit. So,
and it goes back to the little things. Like if you don't keep the little things private, how am I the only one that's dating you? And I'm not in like a love triangle kind of thing.
I totally get it.
But like if you told me every single food and every single order that your girlfriend likes, and I just know it, and now I'm popping up at the house. Hey guys, hey, what's up? Here's your double cheeseburger, and then I know that you like this. That authenticity of that part is just gone. And you do that with too many groups of people, too many things. It's one thing if we have a game night every couple of weeks, and I know what everybody likes to drink, right? And I'm bringing, here's the wine bottle, here's this.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a little thing.
Yeah.
But you multiply that, it's like, okay, now I know what you like for breakfast, and oh, it's dinner time on a Friday. I'm going to order you guys pizza. Hey, do you guys want to go that spot that I saw you guys post on Instagram? We should go there. It's like, no, that's a
chill the fuck out, dude.
That's a spot me and my person like. That's why I don't like posting dates and stuff either, because then it's like, I don't want you to know where I'm going mini golfing. I love mini golfing. I don't want to see people there that I follow anyway.
Then for you personally, keeping it private. Yeah, do you think that's something you would do down the line? Is post?
No.
Like when it comes down to it, nothing.
No, there's no reason.
I feel it.
And that's the reason I like real estate so much. You ain't gonna know what I own. It's all gonna be an LLC, baby. You could be quiet with all that stuff, and I just like private, because I feel like that's the human aspect that we're slowly starting to lose over time.
That's a very good point.
The increase of technology and putting yourself out there, and social scoring and all of that stuff. You lose too many pieces of that, and everybody knows you don't know who you are. Yeah. Too many people know too many things. Yeah. And even with my closest family members, I really like to keep that, call it robotic, call it whatever you want, but that's how I ensure that Jeremy stays Jeremy, Yeah. Yeah. And that's what, I'll just piggyback off the real estate stuff too. Is like, I can do all of that work in private without anybody knowing. You don't need to know that I'm working on a flip right now.
I got $3,000 on this deal.
You don't need to know how many rental properties I have out and about doing stuff. Just like, if I post it, that's one thing. I'm allowing people to know what I'm doing. Correct, but if I'm keeping it to me, nobody needs to know. And nothing bad can come out of nobody knowing.
Cool.
Put a couple likes on a post. Instagram ain't paying me. Fuck them.
Fuck.
But that is a different part of it too, because there's a lot of the famous relationships out there.
Yes, let's talk about that.
I'm cool with that. Like if we have an agreement, like, hey, people love us. We got 1 million followers, 2 million followers, 5 million followers. Every time we post, we're making X amount of dollars. Like if that's a conversation that we have that we both agree on, I'm cool with it. Yeah. But that's where the communication has to be It can't just be I don't want to be seen, and then you're posting me to 5 million followers every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I feel it. I feel it. So then, let's do want to do this last thing. What would be the 3 things you would say that would be very important for a relationship? You personally. And I'll go and say my first.
Sure.
He will. First of all,
I got the notepad for this one.
Let me tell you something.
I mean, okay. Obviously, number one is gonna be communication. For all aspects of communication, verbal communication. How they like certain things done, how they like everything. That person. What's gonna make that person feel even more like themselves? In that relationship.
100%.
The good, the bad, the evil, whatever. All that communication.
Mm-hmm.
Second is, I mean,
don't say it. Don't.
There has to be, sex is a big part of a relationship. I'm just gonna go put that out there. You make that look all you want, but
no. I'm just playing.
There's the attraction effort to it too.
Okay.
There's being with somebody and being able to connect on the level of just interpersonal things, right? Okay. Real life. 99% of the time you spend together is the small things, all that little stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But then you have the bigger things, which is attraction, physical attraction. Mm-hmm. And that's why that's something that's pushing me into wanting to get more fit, eat better, be healthier, because I feel like you just attract that from the other person as well.
You just want to be outside.
It's all yours.
We outside.
We outside. But I think that's a big part of it too, because if you don't have that, are you going to try and find that from somebody else? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then now, what kind of relationship do you have if you're going to seek, the sexual stuff from somebody else?
That's okay.
So I think that you got to have both pieces, and my love language is physical touch, so that's got to be there. I have to enjoy those certain acts that are going on at certain times.
Hey, brother, I feel you, man.
Other people that might not, they would rather be in love with the mind than the body. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I need both, right? I'm not going to date a dumbass. I'm not going to have
facts.
But I'm also not going to get with somebody just because they're a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no.
There's got to be depth.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the other side of it. And then the third one, I really think an overshadowed one is alone time. Mm-hmm. I don't think that quiet time and alone time is valued as much as it should be. Mm-hmm. I think that you've really found the one. If you can sit next to each other, not talk at all, and have it not feel like something needs to be happening. Mm-hmm. If I can sit on my phone, do my thing, you could sit on your phone, do your thing, and we could be right next to each other, or not on the phone and just be able to sit there and enjoy the peace and quiet. Mm-hmm. I think that's a big part that's missing in a lot of relationships and stuff that I've seen around, at least. Mm-hmm. And then the other half of that is allowing that person to have their time. At the end of the day, we're all individuals. Mm-hmm. I have what I like to do that does not include you. Mm-hmm. And I would say you as in my family, you as in my significant other, you as my closest friend. Mm-hmm. I have stuff that I like to do with my fucking self. Mm-hmm. I don't want anybody to get in the way of that. I'm not going to allow people to get into the way of that.
Can't.
But
at the same time,
the other person's going to have that too. Yeah. So you have to be able to give and take. Mm-hmm. Friday nights, 8:30 p.m. to 3 o'clock in the morning, we're not going out. Game. I'm on the game, okay?
That's
like they say, Saturday's for the boys. Well, that's my Friday. We can do anything you want on Saturday.
We can wake up early.
You can give a good example of that because we've adopted the idea that, hey, Friday, is our game night.
Boys' night.
Saturday is when you decide to do something with somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that, if that wasn't respected, it'd be tough.
Yeah.
Because then the control comes in and, oh, you don't want to spend time with me. Oh, you don't want to hang out with me. It's like, what about me hanging out with me? Because if I start to, I'm going to put something good out there too. If I start to lose who I am, then what am I giving you?
Nothing.
And that's the way that I put it. If I can't recharge myself and give you all of me, and that starts to get lost over time, who are you dating? Because I don't know who I am anymore. You just got some tall white dude. You got some tall white dude chilling.
He just floating there. So your 3 was communication, sex.
Yes.
And what was the third one?
Like a long time.
Long time. Okay. I like those. All right.
Number one, communication out of the way. You have to.
And that's why I wanted to say that. So my first one is going to be communication, and that's a thing that I love to ask older couples, because if they don't say communication, I'm like, you're wrong.
If it's not communication, then it's some bomb ass sex.
So I would say the first one's communication, because being on the same page and knowing when you're not on the same page is very fucking important. I would say 2 would be awareness, and awareness of yourself on your moments where you're in a different mindset of, you're insecure or you're feeling a little fearful or whatever, because those emotions play a lot of parts if you let the thoughts and everything prolong. So I think that's the second one that's very important. And just being aware of your other person to know when they're down. I think a thing for me is a lot of times, like, my significant other knows I'm down. It's just like she can just feel a vibe. It's just all. And like, I don't say anything, but then she'll just ask, like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, you don't know me, but
Right,
but I think that's very important. But then the third one is to give and receive. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
And what I mean,
chill out. I didn't even finish saying it. You were just supposed to ignore that.
But give and receive, and what I mean by that is that we are both individuals. That person is going to have their challenges that I don't understand. So I'm going to have to give my time and my patience to that person to make them feel like home while they're going through whatever, and vice versa. Right? But then, so that's the giving, and then receive. You just need to know how to receive. Whatever they fucking do for you, you need to, hey, thank you so much. Like, I appreciate it, blah, 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 blah. I think those are my 3.
Nice.
And that's on the.
Wow.
But, yeah, I think that was a longer conversation. I think that was a good conversation, though.
Yeah, I'm good.
Nothing messed up. The camera's on.
I mean, it could be off. For all I know.
That'll hurt. That won't hurt. But we appreciate you guys watching. If you guys watch this video, send it to your significant other, send it to friends. We can get this message out.
Or let us know how you feel about it. Did we miss something?
100%. What do you think about it?
Am I off the mark on something that I should be expecting in a relationship?
I mean, they can't tell you that, but
you can't tell me nothing.
Oh, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is O. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it so much. Like, comment, share, and we shall see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace out.